Hello, this is West Virginia Tim. This is BGG. Welcome to West Virginia. It's on the Berkeley Gadget's Geo Tour, the most favorited Geo Tour in the entire world. Also, this cache is located along Interstate 81 at a rest stop. This rest stop has caches that have earned over 2,400 favorite votes. So when you're passing through West Virginia, you want to be sure to stop at this rest stop. One of the interesting things about this cache is it's made out of course solid wood, but it's also covered with fiberglass, a thin coat of fiberglass. This cache will probably last longer than I will. Hey, so what I want to do is I want to try to find this cache. And then after we find it, figure out how to solve it, then I want to take you back into my shop and show you how to build it. Interesting thing about this cache, there's about 2 or 3 options. So be sure to watch until the end and you'll see the different ways that you can build a cache like this. As you walk up to this cache, you see several different pull rings. There's 4 on this side. There's none here on the front. And on this side over here, there's 3 pull rings. Nothing on the top. As I look down the post, I don't see anything. The bottom has a little something that's a tattletale. Right here is a plastic tube. Of course, it's got a note that says it's a geocache and my telephone number on it. Now, the cache page says pull the right ring or rings. So I'm thinking to solve it, all we have to do is pull the correct ring, and this cache release mechanism that's in the bottom will just drop down a tube. So each ring has a little tension on it. It only comes out so far. So I can pull each one of these rings. Darn. So pulling the rings, each one of the rings didn't work. But the geocache page says pull ring or rings. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this camera down, and what I'll do is pull the blue ring and the purple ring at the same time. Then I'll pull the blue ring and the white ring at the same time. Then I'll pull the blue ring and the orange ring at the same time. Then I'll pull this blue ring and this pink ring. So let me go through that scenario. I'll fast forward for you, and hopefully one of those scenarios will prove to be the solution. Okay, I can't find the right combination. I don't know how many different hundreds of combinations that you would have to find, but I'm not one to frustrate people, and most people will probably give up after 10 or 15 minutes trying all these different combinations. But the cache page does say pull the right ring or rings. So we know the solution's here. So I don't think it's here or on this side or any combination. There's nothing on the front, nothing on the bottom, nothing on the top. We've looked around the back. We're going to have to expand our view a little bit and see if we can find the correct ring or rings. Now, ground zero takes us right here, right? So anything on this whole area right here we could possibly be missing a ring. So let me grab the camera and let's see if we can find the missing ring. Okay, so the first thing let's do is let's look at the back. And I'll just tell you the other side is as clean as this. If we look at this pole, I'm looking to see if there's anything on this pole. I don't see anything on the pole. There's got to be a ring that we're missing. So let me look, move my camera. Nothing here on the front, all the way to the bottom. And the pole looks really, oh, look right here. Right here is a line that you can barely see. So maybe that has been split. If that's been split, then I would look around here. Look at there. There's our missing ring. Okay, I hope you can hear me now. Let me pull this ring. Let's see what's happening. So we go to the bottom, right down near ground level. We pull this ring. There's our cache. Okay, so now to put the cache back, we simply put the cache back in the hole, take our finger, push it up until it clicks. Okay, now we found it. Let's go into the shop. Let me show you how to build it. How do you build this thing? The heart of this cache is this cache release mechanism. And I have a whole nother video that shows you how to build that. It's easy to build. It's very little maintenance. And it releases the cache so easily, I thought, why don't I build a cache around my cache release mechanism? So my original thought was just to use the cache release mechanism. And then of course it grew to adding these red herrings. And then I thought, well, why not make it one of these? Why not hide the cache release mechanism? And I thought, where could I hide it? I thought, why don't I bring it out the back? So I took the little wire that I use, this braided wire I bought at Lowe's. So I took the braided wire, hooked it to my cache release mechanism, took it up to the top through a little pulley, and I then put it in just a 1/4-inch plumbing pipe just to keep it from rubbing, causing any friction, and to try to keep maintenance down. And I drilled a hole in the back, and I was just going to bring it out the back. And if there's dozens and dozens of ways to build these, I had a bunch of rings that I had in one of my little drawers, and so I thought, why don't I use a ring, because they're easy to pull. And then I thought, well, what can I hook the ring in? So I hooked it into a dowel, but then of course you have to have a stop so that you can't pull it too far. So I put a little bolt in here, drilled a small hole and put a little nut and a bolt in here. And then of course these springs, these extension springs, you can buy all different sizes at Lowe's. And so I put an extension spring, a little eye bolt on the side, and really we have, in fact here I even attached it differently, so it really doesn't make any difference. So I built all these little different things that are really just red herrings. Let me show you a close-up of my cache release mechanism up here. So here it is. By pulling the wire down, pulling the wire up, it releases the cache. I put a couple boards here as a stop, and so this just releases the cache. And then I put a spring here to make sure that the cache release mechanism is pulled back down and stays in its in this area here. So when I put my preform tube up, it clicks and stays right there. Here's the back of the cache, and what's important to note is that I have it at an angle, and here I've actually placed a 45 degree joint here on my plumbing pipe. So even if you're going to take it straight out the back, I wouldn't suggest using a 90, because then it's going to be a friction point. So I would put a 45, a little straight piece, and then another 45 to get it outside of the board. So you can bring it right out and then put it on the back of the 4x4, drill a hole through the 4x4 right here in this area, so you could very easily hide the pull that you need to pull right directly behind this cache. That's the simple way. It's still a great cache. It gives you a lot of different options to pull. You can even put on the cache page, what I think I'm going to do is say, you need to pull the right ring or rings. So they might think they have to pull two at the same time. So we want them to fiddle with the front and all these red herrings, when really the release is right here in the back. But now if you want to get more complex and you've got some specialty tools, let me tell you what I'm going to do. Here's the cache setting on a 4x4 post, but the cache will set, here's the top, so the cache will set on the post. And if you look here, here's where my hole is going to be. So what I've done, now here's the benefit of having some specialty tools. I took my bandsaw and I literally sliced this 4x4 off here and then cut it off here. So by the time I glue this down, clamp it and glue it, you won't be able to see this slice. It's really going to hide it. And then on the inside, I took a, you can either take a table saw or a hand circular saw and I cut out a kerf that's just big enough to hold a piece of 1/4-inch plumbing pipe. So you're going to be able to see here how easily I'm going to be able to put that plumbing pipe in here. I'll put a 45 in here that connects into there. I'll put this here like this, and then I'm going to glue this up overnight, clamp it very tightly. The cache will be setting up here. Here's the back with the pipe in it before I glue it together. Okay, take this concept and run with it. Make it your own. As you can see, this cache, using the cache release mechanism, has so many different options. You know, as I started, I was just simply going to pull a simple one pull, and the cache was going to drop out of the bottom. Then I decided to add a bunch of red herrings on both sides, making it a little bit more difficult to try to figure out how to release the cache. Or you can do like I was going to do here and drill a hole through the 4x4 post and put the cache release mechanism on the back where geocachers don't suspect. Or, as I'm going to do, as I finally decided what I'm going to do, and you can do the same thing with some specialty tools, is make the cache release mechanism down near the ground. Nobody will ever think to look for it there. There's a lot of different options. So what I always like for you to do is take my concepts or my ideas and make them your own. No reason to ask for permission. Just take this idea if you like it and make some geocaches from it.